Let's cross live to Mr. Lawrence Ma, Chairman of the Hong Kong Legal Exchange Foundation. So, Mr. Ma, the current Legislative Council term has expired and now the elections are delayed. How does that work out legally under the Basic Law? Is this an extraordinary case in Hong Kong's recent history?
Yes. Now, under Article 69 of the Basic Law, the term of office of the Legislative Council is 4 years. This is the usual situation, and our Legislative Council election has since the handover in 1997 been held every 4 years with no drama. Now, when the Basic Law was drafted, it is like constitutions of other countries. It was not drafted to apply in scenarios such as war or state emergency. Now, this worldwide pandemic is so severe that queuing up to vote on streets in Hong Kong will be a disaster for public health. And that is why the Hong Kong government needs approval from the central government in Beijing to interpret Article 69 of the Basic Law in emergency situation where the terms of the Legislative Council can be extended beyond 4 years.
So, Mr. Ma, the Hong Kong government has announced that the election will be held on September the 5th next year. So it's a 1-year postponement. How did this period of time is set?
Well, as the chief executive has said, many elections in other countries, such as New South Wales in Australia, has postponed its election from 6 months to 1 year. Now, Hong Kong is an international city where there are a lot of international visitors, tourists who come to Hong Kong or via Hong Kong to transit elsewhere. We are openly exposed to the entire world, including America, where it is now the most affected country. So 1 year is definitely needed to ensure zero infection in Hong Kong so that life of voters are not at risk if they do come out to vote.
So, Mr. Ma, opposition activist Joshua Wong has tweeted saying that, quote, using pandemic as an excuse to postpone the election is definitely a lie. Is it a lie for you?
Well, I think he is purposely blind to the international response to this life-threatening pandemic, which has already resulted in over 600,000 deaths worldwide. The election will certainly come within 1 year next year, and it cannot be indefinitely postponed. I think he is just being inhumane to voters in Hong Kong and rather risking their lives for his political goal.
Now, let's talk about the arrest warrants for 6 pro-independence activists. How would these arrests be carried out? Some countries where they are residing in have actually suspended extradition treaties with Hong Kong.
Well, I think these Western countries seems to have gained politically in election by playing the anti-China card. They want to find someone to blame for their economic downturn, for their national problems, for their unsuccessful policies, etc., etc. They all do have national security laws, all of them they do, and they incarcerate people in their own countries who did or trying to do the same thing these secessionists or subversionists did in Hong Kong. I think these Western countries are hypocritical. Hong Kong, for us, we are happy that these criminals do come back to face trial for justice to be done or dispensed on them. Or alternatively, we are equally happy that they do not return home to stir up further chaos here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lawrence Ma in Hong Kong. As we